Maybe I should have recorded this. It's a little bit messy, but yeah, it's quite workable. I put this on the headstock onto the bandsaw, and I've cut it. I think it needs to be 15 millimeters thick. It's ever so slightly thicker than that just now, so it doesn't matter that that's slightly messy. And I'm going to take that over to my belt sander now and try to make that a bit tidier. So I'm having mixed progress. Sanding the curve on the fretboard using the belt sander went generally well, but I allowed the neck to be pulled too much onto the belt, so too much of this was sanded. It's not the end of the world, but it will impact the design of this guitar. There really is a virtue in knowing when to quit. The repair worked in the sense that, yep, I've now got a piece of wood with the blackwood and the maple and the curve in the right place, but there's a clear line there. You can see where it is. And it's not just that I'm a perfectionist. This is a guitar that I would like to sell. So I might keep this neck and use it on maybe a project for myself in future, or I might not. But I'm going to cut out a new neck, and I won't put you through all of that because you've seen me do it the first time. I don't have any more American maple, and it is quite expensive wood. But what I do have on hand is pretty much the closest thing that in New Zealand that you'll get to that, called Tawa, a very hard, very pale wood, a lot like maple. The grain is different, but it's nice wood. So I'm going to use that instead. And I will actually, there we go, actually I have got a purpose for this, because this is a guitar I would like to reproduce in the future. So I'm going to thin that down a bit more, and use that as a neck template. I've already used it to draw the outline. I will use it to do the routing as well. So there we are. It, you know, it's going to serve a useful purpose after all. But basically, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. I'm not going to sink any more effort into that because I can see that it ultimately won't be as good as what I want. This can be. So, yeah. I'll come back when I've got a neck cut out and ready to proceed from where we were last time. So you know the drill, or in this case, the router. I must be a dad. So, having drawn on the outline, before cutting the piece of wood to shape so that it's easy to hold in place and route on, I have routed the channel for the truss rod. There's one very roughly cut out neck. Well, with the help of my glue and this rather hefty piece of walnut, which is being used to press the fretboard down, I'm gluing the fretboard on to this replacement neck. I haven't thinned the headstock yet. On the previous one, I thinned the headstock by cutting it thinner with a bandsaw before I put the fretboard on. I hadn't done that part yet, the fretboard. There are a couple of different ways to thin the headstock down. One is obviously with the bandsaw. Another is by using a router, and I'll show you a little bit of that later. I got that idea by watching a video by Fletcher, Handcrafted Guitars in Australia. So we'll come back when this is dry. The neck is getting there. Now, as you know, or as I've mentioned before, whether you've seen it before or not, I get my fretboards mostly pre-made. That is, they already have the inlays in them and they're already slotted. Maybe it's a bad thing that we live in a world of eBay where that's so easy to do because it can mean taking the easy way. But, you know, I will get there eventually. I'm just really focusing on becoming a good guitar maker more generally, you know, working with the wood. That's a skill I will pick up. I will, because I will have to when it comes to making quite custom things like 7 or maybe even 8-string guitars at some point. Anyway, where I'm going with this is, what I've done in the past is just attach the fretboard, and then I could route the neck to the shape of the fretboard, and that was fine. It wouldn't have been fine in this case, though, because the fretboard had to be the same shape as the neck, and the neck heel, the part that bolts into the body, had to be a particular shape, namely the shape of the neck pocket, which I based off a template. So what I had to do, I'll show you. I didn't record this. Maybe I should have, because it's kind of cool if you're into this kind of thing. So I've got here a spiral cutter, a spiral flush trim router bit. So that bearing rides along the wood, and the spiral blade, which is just, from what I understand, it's less inclined to kick back, and you get quite a nice cut from it. Anyway, so up here on the heel end of the neck, where the fretboard slightly overhung the neck, and that started at about the 12th fret, I cut like so. So I lowered the bit like that. The bearing ran along the wood, and the bit cut the fretboard to match the shape of the heel. Some small damage there, which is possibly, I can possibly do something about that, I'll see. I think I should be able to do something. But from, again, roughly the 12th fret downwards, the neck overhung the fretboard slightly, because I had planned on routing to the shape of a fretboard. So you can guess what I did here. I just raised the bearing so that it was riding along the fretboard and trimmed thus. Right, what I'm doing now is just sanding the sides of the fretboard to make them nice and smooth. One of the slight annoyances is that because these fretboards are already made, they already have the side dots, which is a great convenience, but that router bit actually ripped 3 of them out. These ones it trimmed back. No, it didn't trim them back because I was cutting the wood here. These ones it trimmed back, fortunately. These ones it ripped out. So I don't have any of the white plastic rods required to make those side dots, so I'll order some and I will put the dots back in, but that can be done at any stage. So again, just sanding the sides of the fretboard, nice, flat, smooth, sanding the glue off the fretboard, and then I will come to thinning the headstock using a router, which I will show you.